Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We're now live streaming. I'll hand the meeting over to the chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teresa, and welcome everyone to the annual meeting of the District Council. And I will ask Julie to do the roll call, please.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Councillor Ashby.
Present.
Councillor Askew.
Present.
Councillor Atterwill.
Present.
Councillor Bambridge.
Present.
Councillor Burt.
Yes, good afternoon.
Councillor Burt.
Present.
Councillor Bowes.
Here.
Councillor Braim.
Present.
Councillor Brindle.
Present.
Councillor Bushell.
Present.
Councillor Carter. Councillor Marion Chapman-Allen.
Here.
Councillor Sam Chapman-Allen.
Present.
Councillor Clark.
Present.
Councillor Clausen.
Here.
Councillor Coleman.
Present. I'm just incapable of unmuting myself. Apologies.
Councillor Cowan.
Here.
Councillor Crane.
Present.
Councillor Dale.
Present.
Councillor Dowling.
Present.
Councillor Duffield. Councillor Dygan.
Here.
Councillor Eagle. Councillor Gilbert.
Here.
Councillor Gray.
Present.
Councillor Harvey.
Present.
Councillor Hewitt.
Present.
Councillor James.
Present.
Councillor Jeremy.
Here.
Councillor Kiddell.
Here.
Councillor Kiddle-Morris. Councillor Kybird.
Here.
Councillor Ian Martin. Councillor Keith Martin. Councillor Monument. Councillor Morton.
Here.
Councillor Nairn.
Here.
Councillor Nunn. Councillor Oliver. Councillor Robinson.
Present.
Councillor Sherwood.
Present.
Councillor Suggett.
Present.
Councillor Taylor.
Present.
Councillor Terry.
Present.
Councillor Turner.
Present.
Councillor Webb.
Here.
Councillor Wickerson.
Here.
Councillor Wilkin.
Here.
And Councillor Wilkinson.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you. Before we go on to the election of the chairman, I just have a short address for you, and it is short. When I was elected as chairman, I was very honoured and looked forward to 1 year of civic events, chairing full council and then handing on to my successor. 2019-2020 was a busy and exciting year, and I took every opportunity to raise the profile of our council across the county and wider. Who knew what was round the corner? When the pandemic hit the world, nothing was taken for granted. We all had to react in ways we could never have anticipated, and when agreeing to continue as chairman for a second year, it couldn't have been more different from the first. I was still attending events, though now by Zoom, but that had its advantages. I didn't have to travel, find parking spaces, or dress to impress, but I did miss the human contact of meeting up with friends and colleagues in our local networks. Chairing full council meetings via Zoom was an art in itself, and the pandemic brought sorrow to us all. I wrote 16 letters of condolence to the families of past councillors, work colleagues and friends of Breckland Council. The day of reflection was a poignant milestone, as was the sad death of the Duke of Edinburgh. They say there is a pattern to life. 10 years ago, on the 29th of April, today, we had a royal wedding. We were in the middle of local elections and my father died. 10 years on, today, 29th of April, we've had a royal funeral. We're in the middle of elections and it's the anniversary of my father's death. That feels like a pattern to me. But I wouldn't have got through either of my 2 years without the support of my Vice Chairman Roy and his wife Karen. We made a very good team and I thank them sincerely for that. Likewise, my huge thanks to the team of officers behind the scenes, supporting, encouraging and advising me throughout. To Catherine, Teresa and Julie in the Democratic Services team, and to Legal Eagle, Mark Stinson, I say a special thank you. You all watched my back and enabled me to do my job to the best of my ability. My knowledge of the Constitution is pretty good now, and I have individually written to officers to thank them. I've enjoyed my 2 years, all for very different reasons, and now as I return to the backbenches, I wish my successor all the best in their year ahead. Enough from me. As the Duke of Edinburgh would have said, let's get on with the job. Thank you. Now we go to the nominations of the chairman. So may I have nominations, please? Julian, Teresa, rely on you to spot hands for me.
Councillor Coleman.
Yes, sorry, Councillor Coleman.
Right, Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. I'm delighted to nominate Councillor Roy Braim as Chairman of this Council for the upcoming year. On a personal level, Councillor Braim has been hugely supportive to me since I first stood for election back in 2017, and I've always been grateful to him for his advice and guidance over the past 4 years. On a wider level, Councillor Braim is an incredibly committed local councillor. His unwavering commitment to his residents over many years is commendable. And as you say, Chair, he's been a dependable vice to you over the past 2 years. I'm sure Roy will be an excellent chairman of this council going forward if council support this nomination, and he would prove to be a great asset to this council and our residents. And I know that Karen wouldn't hesitate to keep him in order if necessary.
Thank you very much. Do we have a seconder for that proposal?
As Councillor Bambridge has his hand up.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
sorry, Chairman.
You wish to say something? Yes, please do.
Well, I was just going to say yes. It does give me great pleasure to second Councillor Braim. I think he's been an excellent vice chairman during this time to you, and I think he'll do the job well. And could I have said more than Councillor Coleman has said? No, he stole every comment I was going to make.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other nominations?
Madam Chairman, I cannot see any further hands up.
Okay, in that case, we have Councillor Roy Braim, proposed by Councillor Coleman and seconded by Councillor Bambridge. If you approve this, will you please raise your hand clearly? Do we have any against? And do we have any abstentions?
I see none. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you very much. So it's with great delight I now hand over the virtual chain to Councillor Braim and wish him all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. And thank you, members. It really is an honour to take this position on. I can only hope that I can follow in the expert guidance of our previous chairman I can promise you that I'm going to be here to promote Breckland as a district and a wonderful place to live. And I'm going to promote Breckland Council as being a very forward-looking and good to outstanding district council. I had some friends move into Watton only in the last 3 or 4 months, and on 3 occasions now she's phoned me up to tell me how wonderful Breckland Council was, and I thought, I've never had this happen before. So this is something that is really moving forward. And she came from Essex and places where, you know, you think that they are going to be different, but she is very, very impressed. So I will say to all the officers and to you members, you know, we are going the right way, so let's keep it going. And I thank you very much for the honour and for the faith that you've placed in me. Thank you. I'd like to take this opportunity as well. At a meeting the other day, I was informed that Linda and I are the first double act to do 2 years as chair and vice chair. There have been chairmen in the past who have done 2 and 3 years consecutively, but as far as a double act, it is the first time that it's happened in Breckland's history. And I do hope that Linda feels that I have passed my apprenticeship. Not quite sure why she had to make me wait so long, but you know, I'll accept it. I've learned. What I've learned is that she is going to be some act to follow. It takes quite some person to do a year of, as everybody who has done it in the past and mayors will know, to go out, meet people, and to just to be the face of the council. Linda did that in abundance. She was at countless events. Everybody wanted to speak to Linda, which was lovely. She has been an inspiration. The things I really loved about her and the things that she has taught me, she had no hesitation in saying, yeah, I'll do 2 years. She moved into the virtual world with sheer professionalism. Scares me to death, but she was there. She appeared at our first virtual meetings and she led from the front. You can't ask for more than that. I have had so many people, both members and officers, who have told me of the support that she has been. She's one of these people, she's there for everyone and she puts herself out for everyone. So thank you, Linda. On behalf of the council, you have done an absolutely grand job. There's not much more that I can say other than you will always be my first port of call. Whenever I'm in trouble, I will be on the phone saying, how do I do this bit? So I thank you for a wonderful 2 years. I wish you well. And I hope I've passed my apprenticeship, and I hope that I can continue your high standards. Thank you very much, Linda. Well done.
Thank you, Roy. And just remind Karen, ladies don't wear hats in church after 6 o'clock.
I'll write it down now.
All these little things that you have to learn as you go along. But thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed working with both of you.
I'm sure that there are many people who also want to say, I have got hands up all over the place on the screen that I'm looking at. And obviously I would like to go to the leader of Breckland District Council first.
Lovely, thank you, Chairman, and may I be the first to congratulate you on your new appointment. But more importantly, Chairman, on to Linda Turner. Linda, thank you ever so much for your professionalism, your fortitude over these last 2 years, embedding a brand new set of members to a district council is no easy feat, but you did it with style, grace, professionalism, and a sense of complete commitment from start to finish. And your year set a real precedent for Breckland. We were once again, as always, ahead of the curve. You championed domestic violence, raising that awareness across the district. And in turn, Breckland then stood ready with our commitment of £1 million to our vulnerable programmes. Something through your stewardship, raising that continuous awareness, through your stewardship of the Older People's Forum, continuously looking out for our communities, those who necessarily don't have a strong voice or a visible voice. You were always that individual raising that awareness, not just within members, but every part of the community, both residents and businesses and key stakeholders alike. And then, Chairman, the pandemic hit and we were in a state of flux across the whole of the country as to what was going to happen around the democracy for local authorities. And as you said, Chairman, Linda stepped up to the plate without hesitation, was prepared to continue another year, something unheard of. And once again, you moved us into the new world of the next phase of doing stuff online. And you did it once again using the technology, the support of your officers, but your own individual style with your ironing board set up next door to you, holding paper constitutions at arm's length. And once again, through your patience, your caring, kind attitude to all of us across the chamber, and that continued smile, even if there were a hiccup, you did it and it was seamless for anybody who was watching. But more importantly, you allow for your stewardship democracy to continue within Breckland. And as we begin to move on to the next reign of chairman of the district council, you leave a lasting legacy, not just for those residents we spoke about, but for democracy as a whole, that it continued. And Breckland in 2020 and into 2021 is a better place through what we've achieved through your ambassadorship, if that's such a word, Chairman, over the last 2 years. So, Linda, thank you ever so much for everything.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Leader. I must admit, everything that Sam said is great. And just as pure proof to what he was saying, the second hand that went up was Councillor Terry Jeremy, the Leader of the Opposition. And I'd like him to come forth now.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and congratulations on your appointment. And I hope you have a really fulfilling year for both yourself and Karen. I hope it's going to be really enjoyable for you. I did want to speak in thanks to Linda Turner on behalf of the Labour Group. As we've all said, not just 1 year, but for 2 years of hard work and dedication to the role and to the support that she's provided, not just to councillors, but to staff as well. I know that for many residents, she was a constant presence and a very reassuring presence, giving us that confidence that the council was still operating, particularly through her use of social media and video updates, which have been new to all of us, but I know that it gave a lot of comfort to a lot of residents. I was going to wish Linda well, having a little bit less to do, but I'm sure we will all know that Linda will quickly fill that void with the many other passions that she's involved in, not least support for the older residents across Breckland, which I know has been a long-standing passion of Linda's, and whatever void she's giving up from Chairman of Breckland, I have no doubt will be quickly filled with additional tasks supporting them. So it's definitely to their benefit. But on behalf of us, Linda, thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you very much, Terry. I've never seen so many cabinet members with their hands up, which is another truth and story to tell about Linda. I shall mark that down as something to carry on with. So I would now like to see, I will go to Paul Hewitt, please.
Thank you, Chair. And once again, congratulations on your election. And I'm conscious that I wrote down some words earlier on, which strangely have been echoed by other people, which just suggests that these words aren't just reflecting my thoughts, but the thoughts of everyone. Linda, a year ago, I said, as my fellow ward member and friend, that it was a privilege to nominate you as chairman for an exceptional second year, on the grounds that we were heading into uncertain waters, and what we needed was a steady hand within those waters. And a year on, we have all seen the impact of those headwinds, of those waters, on ourselves, on our families, and on our communities. But in an unprecedented year that's fundamentally changed the way we work with our communities, and the way that we relate with each other. In a year that for some, as you mentioned, Linda, some in this room, the pandemic has gotten far too close at a personal level. And in a year that in many ways will change forever our relationships as a council with our residents, with our officers and with our staff. As we think about new ways of working, there has always been one constant, and that is you, your calm, empathic hand at the tiller, a friend and a confidant to officers, to members alike, and a leader whose quiet determination embodies what I feel is the true spirit of this council and of your colleagues. No fuss, let's just get things done together. Linda, it's been an absolute privilege to work with you under your chairmanship over the last 2 years. Your determination to do things right by members, right by officers, and right by our residents will be a hard act to follow, but Roy, I'm sure you are up for the challenge. And as Terry just mentioned, Linda, I suspect short term, you deserve a long rest and an even longer gin. But I suspect you won't be twiddling your thumbs for long. Your skills of empathy, of determination, of problem solving, and of getting things done with people, not to people, or by people, but with people, are in short supply right now. So thank you again for your service. Thank you for being a fellow ward member, and all the best for what I suspect will be a busy time to follow.
Thank you, Paul. The wonderful thing sharing a ward with Councillor Paul Hewitt is that we put many a problem right over many a bar of Kit Kat. And the sooner we can get back together in the same house and share a Kit Kat, the better. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you, Paul. Alison, you were very quick to have your hand up as well. So if you would like to.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, and congratulations to you. Well deserved. Linda, I wanted to say a massive thank you to you. I've known you for quite a few years now. Before I came on the council, you were even supportive to areas which caused problems before, and you helped me sort them out. So thank you so much for that. However, the last 2 years have been very, very challenging. None of us could have seen what was going to happen. Linda did an amazing job. I mean, Zoom and Teams. I mean, who would have actually grasped that we would all be doing this now today? It was unbelievable. And Linda just basically rolled the sleeves up and got on with it. And that's the sort of person Linda is. And basically, I want to say on top of that, Linda has done amazing work with the Daisy charity. I know she's raised a lot of money, and not just money, it's the absolute publication of what the Daisy charity does. And I didn't realise, and probably a lot of you don't realise, and I believe that she's brought a lot of value to that charity, amongst others. Finally, I was going to say, I want to say thank you, Linda, for all the help and support you've given to all the members and the public during this very critical time, especially in the dark days when it all started with the virus. It's not something that everybody wants to do, but you're special because you choose to do it. So thank you so much. And thank you for being an outstanding chairman, Linda. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. Gordon, please.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I want to say thank you to Linda as well. It has been 2 years, 2 amazing years, hasn't it? And who would have thought you'd ever do 2 years? And so many things that I've got written down have already been said, so I won't repeat them. I'll just say well done. We all really appreciate what you've done. 2 great years, 2 difficult years, 2 special years. So thank you for those. It has been a real funny old time. And I say to Roy, well done on 2 years as vice chairman. I was chairman of this council, but I never served as vice chairman. So I got lumbered straight into it. And I will say to you, Roy, you've been given some advice from Linda about wearing hats in church. Well, you probably don't know, Roy, but gentlemen don't wear hats in church under any occasion at all. So I just congratulate you, Roy. I was very pleased to second your proposal, the proposal that you be made chairman, and I wish you very good luck in your year as chairman, and I wish Linda a very busy retirement.
Thank you very much, Gordon.
Thank you, Gordon. I must admit, I have another hand up, and I will honestly say that I think her hand was possibly the first one that really actually beat everybody else. And I honestly believe that this is going to be the one person that Linda is going to appreciate, although she appreciates everybody. She's worked with all of those cabinet members. She's been a member for a long time herself. But I'm now going to call on a new member who has come onto this council and been exceptionally good councillor right from day one, has come on and done a super job, and I'm sure that Linda will very much appreciate it. So, Councillor Cadell.
Thank you so much, Roy. That was, I'm blushing. Thank you. And congratulations, Roy, to you and to Karen, and also give her my sympathies because I know she's going to have another very, very busy year. But lots of love to you both, and I'm really pleased you've got this position. And wow, Linda, what can I say? On behalf of the newbies, the words fail me, to be honest. Everybody else has said exactly what is, you know, what's needed to be said. You are wonderful, and for a newbie coming onto this council, you made it so much more friendly. You had somebody to talk to, and above everything else, the work you've done with the shed for carers, that I can't put into words my gratitude to you for that, and your ear. How many times have I phoned you up nearly crying, oh, what do I do with this? And not just council stuff, but personal stuff. And you've got us all through a really, really difficult year, 2 years. And I can't thank you enough. You really have gone over and above for personal reasons and council. And I think on behalf of all of us newbies, thank you, Linda. You've been great, absolutely great. You're a hard act to follow. Sorry, Roy. I'm sure you're going to do just as good a job, but thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Tina. And remember, I'm still here. My phone is on 24/7. It always is for Breckland. So
thank you.
Not,
and
not
there's
disappearing into the ether yet.
Thank you.
It may be me that's crying down the phone, Tina, rather than you in this coming year. I don't see any more hands up. I don't know if...
Sorry, Chairman. Councillor Mark Robinson had his hand up.
Ah, right. Councillor Robinson.
Thank you, Roy. I just wanted to congratulate you and join the congratulations on you becoming our new chairman for the forthcoming year. And I've had the benefit, like yourself, representing. I've had the benefit of seeing you at close quarters. We had the privilege of having both yourself and Karen as Mayor Emeritus, respectively. So I look forward to next year with confidence, because I know what you're going to do is build upon your successful relationship with Linda over the last 2 years and continue that sterling service to our residents. But what of Linda? Well, I've had the privilege of knowing Linda for the best part of a decade now. And during that time, I've always found her engaging, will offer sage advice, always open to comment. But if you call back to the beginning of the meeting, Linda actually showed one of her great attributes. She identified the team, all those around her, not once looking to identify her own part. That understated calmness and dignity, I'm ever so grateful that we've had in the last 12 months in what has been the most extenuating circumstances. So I thank you for that, Linda. I wish you a short breath before you throw yourself into your next endeavour. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you. Is that everybody? Can anybody else see any more hands?
Chairman, I see no further hands up.
I must admit, I'm really quite surprised. I thought we were going to be here until about 5 o'clock because I had visions of the public starting to come in and say that they wanted to say something as well. She's done.
I was getting a bit worried we might beat the Oscar time limit. Yeah. Thank you.
Once again, Linda, thank you, and really, really well done. We now move to agenda item number 2, which is the appointment of vice chairman, and I call upon Councillor Ian Sherwood for a nomination.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And can I start by first taking this opportunity to wish you well in this coming year, and I hope you and Karen have a great time as chairman. And I don't know what the official title is of the chairman's partner, but
it is consort.
And consort. So do enjoy that. Mr. Chairman, I would like to propose Councillor Mike Nean as vice chairman. Many of you will know Mike, and Mike served in Her Majesty's Forces for 6 years, and then he was a member of the Norfolk Constabulary for 29 years, covering West Norfolk, including Thetford, Weeting, Mumford and Watt. So he knows Breckland exceptionally well. Mike is the local councillor for Bedingfeld ward and was first elected as a Breckland councillor in a by-election in 2012 for Forest ward. He has served his local residents for the last 9 years, and I'm sure will make an excellent vice chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder? Peter Wilkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations. And I'd like just to echo on what was said for our outgoing chairman. For those who didn't have the opportunity to speak, we echo everything what was said about Linda. Fantastic chairman for the last 2 years. That'd be my honour to second the proposal for Councillor Mike Nean to be Breckland District Council's vice chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Do we have any other nominations?
Chairman, I see no further hands up.
In that case, we will take it to a vote. All those in favour, if you would like to raise your hands. Anyone against? Any abstentions?
Thank you, that's carried.
Well, congratulations, Mike. You are now the vice chairman. I've just had a little thing come up on my screen to say that my battery has gone, and I will not be able to carry on any more with this meeting. So I'm sure that you have practiced and are up for speed. Seriously, Mike, I know we're going to work well together and we're going to have a good year. And you know, we will get together and sort things out. Thank you very much, and I'm sure you would like to thank the members.
I'd like to thank everybody who has supported my nomination and election. I would also hope that I will be able to fill some rather big shoes and do my apprenticeship as you have done yours. You will be a hard act to follow because it's been a rather tumultuous 2 years that you have been the vice chairman, and I just hope that I don't have such a turbulent time as you have had. So, but I look forward to looking to represent the best of Breckland in the future and supporting you in your role as chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Now we have a chairman and a vice chairman in position. We can move on. Julie, would you like to do apologies as item 3 on the agenda?
Thank you, Chairman. I have apologies from Councillor Carter, Councillor Eagle and Councillor Ian Martin.
Does anybody know of anybody else that have sent apologies or told them? No. Okay, they will all be recorded, and we will move on to item 4, which is the minutes of the last meeting held on the 8th of April. Obviously, everybody's had those sent to them. This is just to confirm. Are there any questions? Anybody got anything that they saw on there that was inaccurate? No. In that case, I will ask for a show of hands for all those in favour to agree the minutes. Lovely. Anyone against? Any abstentions?
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Julie. Item 5 on the agenda, declaration of interests. Hopefully this is going to be the last time we're going to have to really do this bit because we're obviously going to be moving forward in the future. But as per the meeting protocol, any member who has any interest will be placed in the virtual waiting room for the specific item and will not be able to partake or vote on the item. You have been told, and obviously if anything comes up during the meeting that you feel you might have an interest that might be prejudicial, would you please notify us either on chat or just shout at me. Thank you. We now move to Chairman's announcements. Really, I haven't got very much that needs to be said other than I'm looking forward, and I'm hoping you're all looking forward to what I suppose we're going to call the new normal. The High Court yesterday apparently said that we were going to have to organise meetings where we were in each other's company, either outside or inside with proper spacings. And it's going to be up to us as councillors to follow the COVID guidelines and to lead Breckland in the way that is set out for safety and looking after our residents. Hopefully, we're not going to be seen as a council that didn't take note of government policy, that didn't take note of what the people, medical world and medical advice is. We must be seen to be doing this for the right reasons in the right way. So I'm looking forward to a new normal, and I hope at the end of this year we will be able to say that Breckland led the way as somebody to follow, because that's what we've done before. There are many things that Breckland do, and we are often the vanguard and get out there. So I'm sure that we will manage the new normal exceptionally well. Normally, I know that at this point, the chairman would say what charities that they're going to be looking at. I'm struggling with that this year. Both Karen and I have great thoughts for mental health through family and other issues, and we feel that mental health is very important. And it was going to be, right, we'll go for mental health. But all of a sudden, talking to people, members and others, whose mental health? It's a big picture. Now, Breckland have decided to run what they're calling community inclusion. It's a new idea so that they can help housing and all sorts of other things. Now, I'm going to look, I believe, as having a chairman's project. Rather than a said charity, I would like to put forward the idea that the chairman is there to support community inclusion. The thing I'm really want to try and help is with mental health. I don't know how the mental health of our youngsters in particular is going to be affected by this COVID, but I believe it is going to be affected. We need to be fast acting, being able to help. Now, I know that Breckland are going to do that. I know that I can promote that. I hope to get involved with the military in the area, because I believe that they can help with events and things to put on for our, when I say young people, I don't mean children, I mean those people that have lost their one time of life. It's strange. All of us will be able to sit here and say how COVID has affected us, and you know, it's affected mental health and it's done this. But guess what? We all took O-levels, A-levels, we all went to university, we all had that moment in time where we passed from childhood to adulthood. In my case, it was never going to be university or O-levels and A-levels, but I became an apprentice and I did City and Guild. And there was a definite time when I became an adult. I moved into my manhood. Now, I believe that this COVID has taken this away from so many of our young people that live in this district, that Breckland needs to be able to move on that. As soon as we see where spikes or problems are, we need to get in and try and sort them out. So what I'm going to try and do is to raise money, raise awareness for community inclusion, and be supportive of Breckland Council. So that's where I'm going to come from, rather than just having saying, oh, well, we'll do this charity. Let's see who in Breckland needs what and whether we can help. So that's my announcements so far, and we'll see where we go from there. That's the end of item 5, you will be pleased to know. And now we'll move on to, far more importantly, that was end of item 6. Now, far more importantly, item 7, which is the leader's announcement.
Lovely, thanks, Chairman. Members, obviously it's the AGM, so it's right and proper that I give a reflection over the past year and a brief look ahead to the months ahead of us. And as you'll be aware, 2020-21 was a period dominated by an international pandemic. It's had and continues to have an impact on people and businesses around the world, and Breckland has been no exception. And we must never forget those who have sadly lost their lives, all those loved ones through the pandemic. And of course, our thanks goes out to all of those who have worked and volunteered continuously, tirelessly, to support and protect all of us through the last year. While it's a situation none of us would have wanted to find ourselves in, I am immensely proud of the response of this district council and its members and its community at how we've tackled the challenges we've faced. Throughout the pandemic, Chairman, our top priorities, driven from our decision making, was clear and unwavering. Breckland Council's overriding priority was to protect the lives and livelihoods of our residents. And Chairman, we did this by coordinating a massive relief effort over the last year to help individuals who have been directly impacted by the pandemic. This included releasing tens of thousands of pounds in grants to support individuals facing financial hardship, delivering food parcels containing meals to ensure that individuals could stay at home and were safe and were getting the supplies they required, to supporting food banks and carrying out thousands of welfare calls to individuals who are vulnerable and isolated, making sure they got the support they needed, but also that caring voice at the end of the line. And our newly recruited COVID support officers, Chairman, are working across the district to provide that reassuring presence, give advice, and investigate any concerns of instances where safety guidance may not be followed. They're there as that critical friend, not just to businesses, but to residents as well. And most recently, Chairman, we've launched our COVID Safe scheme, recognising businesses in the district which have put in place measures to protect not just themselves, but also their customers from coronavirus. And I was immensely pleased to be out in our high streets, giving out some of those first awards across the towns in Swaffham and Attleborough. And our officers have been continuing to inspect Breckland businesses to assess their anti-COVID virus measures, including the provision of protective equipment, such as screens, masks, hand sanitizers, and direct training and advice to staff to allow them to ensure that they can continue to operate. And Chairman, it goes beyond that. Throughout the pandemic, we've had officers who are going into the eye of the storm, into building and premises where we know the COVID virus is prevalent, and they have, regardless of their own safety, ensured that they're there to undertake their job to protect everybody within the district and the county. And on the part of businesses, Chairman, I know that the pandemic has hit every single business, self-employed, small, medium and large, regardless. And as a district council, we have now distributed around £50 million in local and national grant funding, ensuring that businesses who are able to have been able to weather the storm. But just as valuable, Chairman, is the significant resource package we put in place to support business owners navigate themselves through the emergence of COVID and supporting them to make the changes to their space and place to protect customers, staff and jobs. And Chairman, I know that you as a businessman have been a fantastic champion of this, and most recently we've set aside £2 million to help recover businesses, and our Springback support package is there. Please, this is a plea to members across the chamber, do go out and advertise our Springback programme. Those businesses to get shopfront improvements, to make sure that they've got a lick of paint, new awnings, new glass, new stickers, whatever it may be, to make their high street shop as attractive as possible. Grants worth up to £5,000 for businesses to invest in equipment to allow them and ensure that they can continue to operate. Money for training for those businesses, not just to work digitally, but new payment systems, new websites, new online advertising, whatever it might be. And of course, our business startup grants. This district is helping businesses start up, that undertaking that dream of having a go in what has been a really turbulent period. But business as usual, Chairman, and here we are still ensuring that democracy takes place. And this council, regardless of our focus on protecting livelihoods and businesses, we've been focused on delivering some of our big strategic activities. And I'm pleased that this council was able to launch its inaugural sustainability strategy. Yes, Chairman, it was late, but I'm pleased with where we are, setting those foundations for this council to become carbon neutral by 2035, ring fencing £500,000 to ensure that we are continuing to drive that agenda forward. That's on top of, Chairman, the tens and hundreds of thousands of pounds we spend annually to deliver a range of green schemes across the district. And some of those sit around the £100,000 grant scheme for grassroots activities. And it's so exciting to hear some of the engagement members have been having with their communities of what activities they could undertake. And Chairman, we begin that work to convert a temporary accommodation centre in Elm Road within the district, providing that short-term, safe, secure premises for those who find themselves homeless or require emergency accommodation. And this is a project, Chairman, represents 1.8 million investment from this district council. It will be purpose-built. It will meet the requirements for single adults, couples and families needing that support, allowing us as the district to start that wraparound service so that they can move on with their lives. We released a further £40,000, Chairman, for our first community supermarket in Thetford. This district council, once again, providing for those in need. We're a champion, we're ahead of the curve, and others are now looking to us for that inspiration and that leadership. And that community supermarket within Thetford, Chairman, is going from strength to strength. And we're working with the Norfolk Community Foundation to see how we can explore and exploit that further to ensure that we're protecting residents across the district. We've continued, Chairman, to support our Market Town initiatives. This council has ring-fenced and continues to protect that money of £150,000 per Market Town over 3 years, allowing those local district councillors, Chairman, within that locality to decide where that money is spent to ensure that those market towns are vibrant places for people to come and visit, enjoy, discover and explore. We've also, Chairman, put in groundworks to ensure that Breckland has a bright future, whether that's Hemingway Design in Thetford or our future Breckland through our town delivery plans. This is not Breckland telling towns what they need to be or the district what it should be. This is Breckland District Council putting its money where its mouth is, us allowing other individuals to have an equal say and an equal share at driving our district forward. We've enabled that, Chairman, so that we are an equal partner in that process. And I'm so pleased, Chairman, that the first launch is well underway for Dereham and the online event is getting ready to take place with everybody who wants to engage. And I know that the other 4 market towns are champing at the bit to start that work. We've done all of this, Chairman, over the last 12 months, despite the challenges we've faced in this organisation, despite the challenges of the Chief Executive moving on to pastures new, despite the challenges of a complete strategic review being undertaken after a decade-long partnership with our close partners in South Holland, despite a brand new restructure of the senior management team. In all of this, we have continued to strive and move forward. So the look ahead, Chairman, what do we have in store? Well, we delivered a balanced budget, which I'm immensely proud of. We protected frontline service, but beyond that, Chairman, this council invested in our frontline services. We continue to ensure that residents and businesses can thrive, whether that was extra resources in tackling fly tipping, whether that was extra resources in ensuring that animal welfare was met, whether those extra resources to support business engagement. We were there as that district council. We have continued to support all of our vulnerable activities. £1 million was ring-fenced, Chairman. We're committed to that spending for our Inspiring Communities programme, supporting those through loneliness, drug gangs, domestic abuse, or poor mental health, which I know is immensely close to your heart. And as we begin, Chairman, to move forward to some of those bigger strategic activities, that new electricity provision within the market town of Thetford, delivering homes and job opportunities for many, whether that's the further electricity provision within the town of Snetterton, ensuring that people have the jobs they need to access. And of course, Chairman, beyond that, we've launched our brand new waste contract, and that will begin to grow and move forward over these coming years. And it was a unique position for us, Chairman, 3-way commissioning for local authorities, seeing that efficiency saving we need, making sure that we're getting the biggest bang for our buck and ensuring that this district council can keep its council tax as one of the lowest in the country. And Chairman, we've moved forward. We've engaged technology in the light of COVID. And I'm so pleased that residents have found our new online appointment service so valuable. I'm pleased that residents have found that our online evening appointments so valuable. We've been able through COVID, Chairman, and new ways of working, agile working, to ensure that our council staff are at the right place at the right time to support residents and businesses alike. And if the previous 12 months, Chairman, have shown us anything, it is to expect the unexpected, whether it's unexploded bombs, an international pandemic, dangerous buildings, or avian flu, whatever it is, Breckland officers, Breckland members, residents and businesses are there to support each other, one another, to ensure that residents and businesses can all thrive together. Aside from the many projects and activities, Chairman, I've already mentioned, in the past year, this council will continue to support everybody moving forward in a new world as we begin to get back face to face on hopefully the 21st of June on step 4 of the recovery roadmap. And as you said, Chairman, us as members leading our communities as community champions and community ambassadors. And judging by what Breckland has delivered of all of these and so much more, I'm confident, Chairman, this council will remain in a strong position, and we are fully focused, fully committed to meeting whatever challenge is thrown our way. And we will continue to do absolutely everything in our power whilst I'm leader of this council to ensure that we make the lives of people better, to keep them safe and protect jobs and businesses. And I'm happy to take any questions, Chairman.
Thank you, Sam. Every hands up. We have
Councillor Jeremy.
Councillor Jeremy.
Thank you very much, Chairman, and thank you, Sam, for your update there. Significant amount of information there, and I would love the opportunity to ask a whole number of questions, but in the interest of brevity, I shall ask you one in particular, and that's specifically around COVID and virtual meetings. I wonder, Sam, if you agree with me that the government's inability to schedule the sufficient parliamentary time and the recent loss of the High Court challenge on virtual meetings results in the government failing to support local government and the decreasing the rights of us as residents and as councillors to scrutinise and hold to account the work of councils, with additional costs generated for socially distanced meetings, and in Breckland's case, democratic meetings cancelled or postponed that could easily have been held online, but now won't be able to. I wonder if you would support that view, please.
Are you happy to step straight in, Chairman?
Yes, yes.
Yep.
Sorry, Sam. Yeah.
No, it's fine. Councillor Jeremy, in true style, local government will always roll its sleeves up, lean into any challenge, regardless of what it is. And Breckland is one of hundreds of councils across the country who has embraced the technology to ensure that we were able to undertake our democratic mandate. And you know, Councillor Jeremy, that nothing has stopped. At no point throughout the pandemic has anything failed to be delivered, failed for any decisions to be made, and failed for any scrutiny to be undertaken. And Chairman, I am a little bit disappointed at the High Court's ruling, but that doesn't mean to say that democracy will not continue. I'm so pleased that all the chairmen of all the committees and the commission of this council have engaged the Democratic Services team. I'm pleased that we are moving ahead and looking forward to the 21st of June for that step forward the recovery roadmap. And I'm pleased that this council has once again proactively invested in our council chamber, ensuring that we're able to live stream our meetings as soon as you get back in there. Chairman, we won't be having meetings for the period of May. Will democracy stop? Absolutely not. We will still be ensuring that when we get to step through the recovery roadmap, residents and businesses are able to go out, enjoy our community safely. We'll ensure that planning permissions are still taking place, that licensing inspections are still occurring, taxis are getting the licenses they require. We're still undertaking those housing applications. Our revenues and benefits teams are still open. So as far as residents are concerned, Chairman, business will continue as usual and democracy will still stand the test of time.
Thank you, Sam, for an extremely enlightening answer. And I must admit, agree with Councillor Jeremy as well. You know, it's a shame that it didn't happen, but I know that we as a district council will make the best of it, and we will lead and be out in the vanguard of how democracy works for our residents. I don't see any more hands, Julie, do you?
No further hands up, Chairman.
Save some of that 30 minutes now, so we can move on to agenda item 8, which is questions on notice. There were none. 9, questions without notice. So we will start with members who wish to ask the leader or portfolio holders any questions. And we will start with Councillor Jeremy as the leader of the opposition.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Question, please, for Councillor Bambridge, if I may, I believe, responsible for Serco. Gordon, one of the very last meetings that we held in person pre-COVID, and probably one of the most significant decisions that we reached for quite some time, was the new grounds maintenance contract for Serco. And I can recall in the cabinet meeting, the scrutiny meeting, and indeed the full council meeting, all on the same day, being reassured that the service that we would be provided would be improved, and specifically the shredding of litter by Serco grass cutters would end. Rather than improving, the situation has got worse. And just last week, it wasn't the usual cans and glass that was being merrily mowed and torn to shreds, but face masks, and in my particular case, 2 dead pigeons shredded by Serco litter pickers near to a local school. What will you be doing, please, to enforce the rules within the Serco contract that we were all told were in place to stop the shredding of litter from occurring? Thank you.
Well, this is the first I've heard of this happening. So if you can just tell me which particular park it was, you can send me an email on that. I will follow up and reply to you and copy that to other members. It shouldn't be happening. We should be picking up litter before we cut grass or service areas. And if that's not happening, it's something I do want to know about, and action will be taken.
Thank you, Gordon. And we now move to Councillor Burt.
Thank you, Chairman, and congratulations on your appointment. A question. Well, I've got two questions, if I may, please. The first question is to the leader, and I would like to refer him to page 9 of our agenda. This is a little bit of deja vu. Last time, you hadn't answered the question from the previous council, and you said that you had the information and you would ensure it was passed on. But I've received nothing. So what's gone wrong? When will I get the information? And that's specifically on the value of the new homes bonus. Now, on the other matter from last time, again, where I hadn't had an answer, which incidentally, I am asking to see documents which already exist. So there's 0 officer time involved. I just want to have a look at some documents. Again, I have not received any documents at all. I've received 2 replies from legal services. On the 8th of April, they said that they would talk to a director about giving me access to these documents. And yesterday, 28th of April, I got a quote from our constitution, which is at variance with the legal framework, which I've already quoted to them. And I have had no response whatsoever to my legal query. Now, on that basis, I can only assume that I'm being unlawfully denied access. So what should I do? Should the monitoring officer be involved with this? I do want to see these documents. I do want to scrutinise. Now, I have another question for the executive member for governance, but that's a separate thing.
In that case, what we'll do is I will come back to you if we've got time, because there are others that are looking to ask questions. So we'll go to the leader for an answer.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Burt, I wrote to you via email on the 5th of March 2021 in relation to new homes bonus. So as far as I'm concerned, I've responded to your email. If you haven't received that, then you need to take that up with Breckland IT. In relation to your second communication in relation to outdated documents, I will take that as an action away from this meeting to provide them to you. Councillor Burt, it is becoming a little bit laborious, a little bit tiresome that you think that you are being stopped from your ability to undertake your duties as a councillor. Nobody is stopping you from doing this. And my request to you is be like every other councillor in this chamber. Use the IT which every other member of this council uses. Use the IT which every officer of this council uses, and you will receive the responses in a timely manner, such as every other member. But no, Councillor Burt, you refuse to use the IT for whatever strange reason that may be. If you think that I have any interest in reading your emails, you are very much mistaken, sir. I have much more interesting things to do. So your email replies are there, Councillor Burt. If you haven't seen them, that's not my problem and not my fault.
Sounds like you've deliberately sent them to the wrong email address, which I can't access. You have sent them to my email addresses before.
Excuse me, this is not a debate. It was a question and you've had an answer. So we will now move on to the next question. It is Councillor Coleman.
Thank you, Chair. It's a question for Councillor Hewitt. Can the Cabinet member update me on the sale of the Green Britain Centre in Swaffham, please?
And thank you very much indeed, Councillor. I can update to the extent to which I am able to, which is last week we agreed and finalised terms with the bidding organisation, which themselves were agreed by the board of that bidding organisation for the Green Britain Centre. Unfortunately, as is so many frustrating messages when you really want to jump up and shout about things but can't, they need to announce to their staff before we can announce any further. But in terms of due diligence, it's been completed. In terms of due process, it's been completed. In terms of sales terms, it's been completed. And I will get back to you as soon as I can once the bidding company has agreed with its staff in terms of the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hewitt, for your efforts on that.
Thank you very much. We will now move to Councillor Morton.
Thank you, Chairman, and congratulations on your appointment. I'd like to ask a question of Councillor Sherwood. We adopted an excellent report from Eunomia at the previous February Council. Could you explain how this timeline, which is set out there, is going to be monitored and reported back to us?
Mr. Chairman, are you okay if I go?
Yes, sorry. To be honest, I will just say this because, you know, if the councillor is actually asking the person, let's just go straight to it. Nobody needs to hear me keep saying, can you answer that question? So if your name has been mentioned as a cabinet member or the leader, please just jump in and try and answer the people. But they only have 30 minutes, so we'll try and keep it as brief as we can without me keep popping in.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just didn't want to make you feel that you weren't playing your part there, but thank you for that permission. Thank you, Philip. Yeah, I mean, you know that we are looking at this. Now, I've corresponded with you a lot, and I mean that in a good way. And I think me and you have exchanged emails on this. That's being looked at within the scale of all our key measurements, and that information will come out and you'll have an opportunity to have an input into that. I haven't got an exact timeline, but what I will do is I promise that I will come back to you by email and give you a more definitive time so that you can hold me to that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. I have got Councillor Dowling, Councillor Brindle, Councillor Terry, and I think that's, and then Councillor Burt, who is, if we've got time. So, you know, that'll save you keeping your hands up. You can take them down, and we'll go with Councillor Dowling first. And I've also got Councillor Burt, who will come on as well.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations. My question is for the Cabinet Member for the Environment. There is significant concern locally in Thetford about the felling of mature trees linked to new housing growth. What more can Breckland Council do to prevent so many trees from being cut down? And is it right that trees are being allowed to be cut down in the nesting season?
I believe that is back to Councillor Sherwood, is environment, aren't you?
Environment is Councillor Bambridge, but I don't know if that was meant to be a climate question, but environment is Councillor Bambridge. So I don't know if Gordon would like to go.
Well, I'm here and I can't really answer that question. I'd like to know who's cutting down the trees. This sounds to me more like a planning issue. So I think we'll probably have to come back to you, Councillor Dowling, on that. If you could send me an email with the location or the sites, then that will help in the following up.
Right, I think there is some confusion about who is actually cutting down the trees. I think it was assumed it was Hopkins, but apparently it isn't. And I believe some trees have been cut down by Anglian Water, but there seems to be a large quantity of trees being cut down by various different agencies. And the site up particularly is looking quite bad.
Right. It could
I will
be
certainly send you any information that I have got.
If you send me the information you've got, and then I will pass that on to whoever is responsible and tell you who it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Right, we now move on to Councillor Brindle.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and many congratulations, Roy. That's great. I think the question is for Sam. I'll leave you to pass it on to Councillor Bambridge if that's appropriate. Sam, if you look at the Thetford related Facebook entries, there's a lot of anger and cross people at the moment because it seems that Serco are unable to empty litter bins when they are full. Litter is then crammed in and blows out. More litter is cast on the floor near the ground nearby because there seems no obvious use for the bin. I know, Sam, you're aware of this problem, and I'm grateful for the response from officers so far, but I'm just concerned. I'm hoping that you can assure us that Breckland and Serco will stay on top of the issue, especially as the bins will get busier in the summer season with the visitors that we all want to encourage.
Thanks, Chairman, and thanks, Councillor Brindle. And myself and the waste team are acutely aware of the concerns of residents and members, not just in relation to what you've mentioned there. For this weekend, the bank holiday weekend, my message is twofold. One, to give reassurance, we are creating extra capacity in those hotspots, so you will see extra bins, temporary bins arriving in those localities. We've got extra staff which are coming in this weekend to support us through the bank holiday weekend, and we've got the routine for those being emptied has increased vastly. The team are out on the ground when any activity is reported, so my plea is for residents and members to use the online report it function. My second bit, Chairman, and I hope that people take this in the way it's meant, please, across the whole of the district, and if you travel somewhere else in the county, if you go with your waste and you see that a bin is full, please take your waste back home with you. You left with it, please go home with it, put it back in your own bin. Please don't accidentally, through convenience, leave it next door to a bin which is already at capacity and already full. All of us want to ensure that our district is a beautiful place, our county is a beautiful place, and all of us, not just our contractors, not just our waste teams, every single one of us has a really important role to play in ensuring that we keep Breckland and Norfolk litter free.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leader. I must admit, we all would like to make sure that those sentiments are followed. I now have Councillor Terry.
Thank you, Chair. Congratulations on your appointment. It's a question for Sam. Small sports clubs provide children and young people with so many opportunities. Opportunities to get some fresh air in their lungs and forge new friendships, many of which can last a lifetime. But it is the impact these clubs have off the pitch that cannot be overstated. In many cases, they are quite simply the lifeblood of their communities, which is why it's devastating to learn that over 10%, or 4,000 clubs nationwide, say they will struggle to survive the next 12 months. For too many clubs, COVID-19 has been the final straw. The irony of it all is that this pandemic is slowly wiping out a resource that most parents say they value for that very reason, the physical and mental health benefits. Two of Thetford's major sports clubs, the football club and the neighbouring cricket club, are in a precarious position, with both clubs needing funding to upgrade their facilities or risk being demoted to lower leagues that will further reduce their revenue. I welcome the funding opportunities available to clubs through the Inspiring Communities Fund, but to access this and indeed other funds such as the lottery funding, skills are needed to complete often complicated application forms. I'd be grateful if the leader could confirm what support is available from Breckland District Council for groups to apply for funding.
Thanks, Chairman, and thanks, Councillor Terry, for your question. Chairman, on the back of it, I'm pleased that this government has committed over £195 million to support sport and physical activities throughout the pandemic and recovery. And of course, that's been disseminated through many organisations, whether that's Sports England, the English Cricket Board or the RFU. And I know that the two clubs and organisations Stuart highlighted will be in contact with their local organisations, whether that's the Football Federation or the England Cricket Board, to work out what funding is available. This council has had a long-standing history of commitment to support community groups and community organisations, and he highlighted, Chairman, the Inspiring Communities funding. This council, once again, unlike other districts who are clawing back on grant funding, has committed over £100,000 from our budget to ensure that clubs such as the cricket club, football club, not just in Thetford, which Stuart mentions, but sports clubs and activity clubs across the district can bid in for those £5,000. If any club is struggling to undertake the application, please get in contact with the Breckland team at inspiringcommunities@breckland.gov.uk and we'll help them. Likewise, I'm sure that members across this district are ready to rock up with their iPads, socially distanced, and undertake that application form for them or with them, so that no organisation goes without the financial support they may need.
Thank you, Sam. We now have Councillor Burt. You're muted, Councillor Burt. You're still moving.
Hang on, how about that?
That's better.
Yes, it helps if I talk into the microphone. Apologies. I just wanted to ask the leader if he agreed with me that the commitment of an unsung group of staff who collected our rubbish throughout the last year and a half, consistently, day after day, in conditions where I have to say at the beginning of the pandemic, there was no understanding of the level or degree at risk which they put themselves to by turning up for work, so that they could provide this service to the residents of Breckland and collecting their waste. And the very fact that this was done without a hitch throughout the absolute worst of the pandemic and indeed all of the lockdowns. There's been a lot talked about members of the health service who have given their commitment, but I do think that there is an unappreciated group of people here who in their commitment to do what is not considered a very glamorous job, but absolutely vital to the quality of life of people across Breckland in having their rubbish removed, and the towns and villages and the countryside in Norfolk and Breckland in particular remaining clear throughout this. I know we're not out of it yet, but I think there's a much greater understanding of where we're going. But all through the really, all through the time when it wasn't clear what was going to happen next, that they continued to come out to work day after day to provide the service. And I just, would you not agree with me, Mr. Chairman, Leader, that they have not had the recognition that perhaps they deserve, and that I would like to applaud all the work that they've done for us over the last year and a half.
Thanks, Chairman. Thanks, Councillor Burt, for your question. Absolutely wholeheartedly. It was immensely remiss of me in response to a previous member's question to me to put my thanks again on record to our waste team across the district. I had the pleasure, Chairman, to meet many of the waste teams at the launch of our new contract at Breck House in Dereham, Elizabeth House in Dereham, when our new waste carts had arrived. And hearing some of the concerns they raised, that during that first part of the pandemic, everybody was stayed to stay at home, except, as Councillor Burt says, health workers and themselves. And they were going out regardless, day in, day out, picking up our waste, ensuring that our communities were clean, vibrant places. And absolutely, as we begin to emerge from the pandemic, I hope that nobody forgets the last 14 months of what our waste teams have done and are still under immense pressure to ensure that our district stays a fantastic community for residents and businesses to thrive. And absolutely, Chairman, I agree wholeheartedly with Councillor Burt's comments. And once again, Chairman, I want to put my thanks on record to not just all of the Breckland officers, but as he mentions, particularly those within our waste team who have done a sterling job, not just in the previous circular iteration of the contract, but will continue to do over these coming months and years ahead.
Thank you, Sam. Again, you know, these are the sort of things we've got to do, is to thank the people that are really working hard for us. We now have Councillor Harvey.
Thank you, Chair, and congratulations on your appointment. It's a question for Gordon. Are you satisfied with the level of service by Serco, staffing levels, etc.? Residents are complaining lack of information, as used to get a reference number when issues reported and informed when problem cleared. Doesn't happen now. There's also no facility to upload pictures on the report form, so lack of evidence could be detrimental. Also, Breckland green bins are being left by bins for several days, leading to animal disturbance and other people dumping even more rubbish with it, spreading the stuff all over the floor. Thank you.
Thanks, Chairman. If I can, I know that question was directed to Councillor Bambridge, but I've just had an email come through earlier today in relation to another portfolio. Thank you, Councillor, for your question. To give some understanding, we are reviewing the whole of the report it function on our website. That work has undertaken this week. You will see continuation and changes with the ability to upload images, drop pins and grid references using your data mobile. and I would encourage residents to continue to use the report it function on our website. There is still the functionality, but it's not where we want it to be to date. Chairman, I understand people's frustrations. This is the third or fourth question in relation to waste. We've heard it loud and clear. The team are responding to those concerns. And all my message and ask is, let's not forget those last 14 months of those waste teams who, if they are listening, may be feeling a little bit unappreciated for the work they've undertaken. We've got the new contract. The new contract will stand the test of time. We are focused on that commitment. The residents and members who have raised those concerns directly with Councillor Bambridge, myself, or senior officers direct have been directly fed in to the Serco team. And as I said earlier in response to somebody else's questions, this weekend we are prepped and primed ready to ensure that the previous incidents which happened at the last bank holiday weekend, Chairman, are not replicated this weekend. So, Chairman, let's just move on from the fifth question around waste. And please, I would encourage members, if they have concerns, to feed them directly into Councillor Bambridge or through the report it function.
Thank you, Sam. We now have Councillor Atterwell.
Thank you, Chairman, and congratulations on your appointment. I hope you enjoy your year in the chair, and I look forward to hearing about all your adventures and what you get up to. I'd just like to say, I haven't got a question, but I would just like to follow on from what Councillor Burt said and actually pay tribute to the fly tipping team, because I've had close contact with them in my parish where there's ongoing investigations, and I think they're doing a fantastic job for the district. It's very much appreciated by me and local residents, and I'd like to put my thanks on record for all that they do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. It's yeah, it is, appreciation is much deserved for everybody. We now have Councillor Bambridge.
Thank you, Chairman. I was just going to complete a reply to Councillor Dowling, because one of the officers has emailed me since that question was asked. The trees which were being cut down were under a consent which was granted. It was applied for in November, granted on the 22nd of December, and they are being replaced by 10 oak, 10 field maple and 10 beech, all of which will be planted in the next appropriate season, and each will be around 4 inches through the trunk. So they are sort of semi-mature trees which will replace that. So the matter was, the trees were reduced with permission, and replacements will be planted if they haven't already been. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. It's great that this wonderful email system works so that you can actually get the officers to come back to you, and councillors can be informed really quickly. Thank you. Councillor Jeremy.
I'm happy for Councillor Burt to go first, Chairman, and if there's time, I'm happy to ask a second question.
Thank you very much. Councillor Burt.
Thank you, Terry. So my second question was to the Executive Member for Governance, Councillor Suggett, regarding the IT. Could you give us an update, please? What went wrong with our IT system which caused the cancellation of the Overview and Scrutiny Commission meeting? And what measures have been put in place to avoid a reoccurrence? Thank you.
Councillor Suggett.
The issues which were faced last week wasn't a Breckland issue. It was a global issue to do with Microsoft. It affected an Outlook update, which affected therefore some of the iOS systems. And given that our iPads and the Microsoft within our iPads, all our diary entries, some members weren't able to access the diary entries in time to be able to gain access to the meeting, the overview and scrutiny meeting. The team, the IT team, they worked really hard. They were waiting for the patch to come through from Microsoft, which didn't come through till quite late on in the evening. And then just to make matters worse, some of the updates, it didn't go through automatically. So the team had to work really hard throughout a couple of days there to manually phone up the 19 members that did get in touch with the IT help desk to well, go through it with them manually, basically. So everything is working, everything is in function our end. It wasn't a slip up with anything to do with our IT. So no measures have had to be put in place because of that, apart from we are going to look at putting together a text messaging service to try and bring everybody together. We've obviously got our member distribution list, but obviously when the emails went down, we were unable to then get in touch with all our members. So that's something which, in hindsight, we think will help moving forward. But as regards to the actual incident, it wasn't Breckland, it was global, and the team did an excellent job at getting everyone up and running as quickly as what they did.
Thank you for that explanation. And yeah, my IT worked absolutely perfectly fine. Thank you, Councillor Chapman-Allen.
Right, thank you. Councillor Jeremy.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to follow up about the concerns on Serco and just ask a couple of questions. Firstly to Sam. Sam, do you realise that these problems with Serco are not purely limited to bank holidays? If it was a one-off, I think people would be understanding, but actually these are significant ongoing issues. And do you realise, and perhaps probably this is more for Councillor Burt, that it is precisely because of concerns about the welfare of the Serco operators that members are raising these concerns? When the operators are needing to pick up broken glass, shredded cans, that is detrimental to their well-being. And having spoken to a number of the Serco staff out on the street, they are having an impossible task and an impossible situation of trying to keep the places clean with the sort of what's being put on them by above. It is precisely because of those concerns about the welfare to operators that these points are being raised. And to suggest that some members are not concerned about the welfare, I think is very disingenuous.
Do you want
Thanks,
to
Chairman.
Councillor,
yeah, thanks, Chairman. Councillor Jeremy, you've ran successful community groups, businesses across the market town of Thetford and the district, and you know firsthand that if the left hand doesn't talk to the right hand on the ground, you are pulling in different directions. And the issues you have highlighted are sadly a breakdown of communication between operatives on the ground. It is nothing to do with the contract. It is nothing to do with individuals. And it is quite right and proper, Chairman, for members to raise concerns at this forum. It's questions without notice. But let's not do political grandstanding. Let's all roll our sleeves up. Let's all work together collectively to ensure that our district is a clean, safe, vibrant place. Let's ensure that that feedback is not just critical, but is offering that feedback in a constructive way of what those issues and concerns are. And I'm grateful to Councillor Jeremy for the work he has done with officers and the local Serco team to raise the concerns, not just him, but of residents as well. And no, I don't believe it is disingenuous, Chairman, for my comments or Councillor Burt's comments in relation to this, because I didn't think that it's appropriate to raise 4 consecutive questions in relation to our waste service this district provides. One question from the opposition group would have sufficed, but it was repetitive and I felt it was unnecessary, Chairman. And my comments still stand that I think all of us are grateful for the work of our Serco team. And as we move forward, I'm sure that you will see a better level of service locally, Councillor Jeremy. And of course, if you have any concerns, you are welcome to pick up the phone from me anytime, and I'll be delighted to join you locally to undertake one of your community litter picks.
Thank you, Sam, for taking that and answering the question. And if I may say to all the members, this agenda item is limited to 30 minutes. It is not a debate. It is for you members to be able to ask questions because things are happening in your ward that people may not know and the actual portfolio holders may not know. The debate place is to go to the committees, talk it through, make sure that the committees are aware and that policies are followed. We're not here just to fight with each other and to, just to keep pulling political points. I'm not going to put up with it for the rest of the year. So please, if you have a political point, something you want to do, take it to the committees because they are politically balanced and all the rest of it. And it's not going to happen just because you say, do you agree at the start of a sentence? So, we will keep it down, and it's not going to be a political debating thing. It's no good for the public, and it certainly doesn't do me any good.
Mr. Chairman, may I come back, because Councillor Jeremy did mention
No, actually,
my name.
Councillor Burt, you can't, because that's the 15 minutes up. I've had my say. I will take it that we will discuss this no further, and we will move on to the committee minutes, which is agenda item number 10. Thank you. Committee minutes, this is for information only. And we're very lucky this month, we only have the planning committee. Has anybody any questions for the chairman of the planning committee?
I see no hands up, Chairman.
Lovely. So in that case, we will duly note those minutes. Thank you. And we will now move on for some presentations, which is the annual appointments of, in fact, couldn't it be better, could it? It's the annual appointments of committees, chairmen and vice chairmen, so everybody will know which committee they need to go and bring their matters up with. So this is being presented by Maxine. So item agenda 11 is over to you, Maxine.
Thanks, Chairman, and congratulations on your appointment, and good luck with this year, your term in office for this year. In accordance with the Constitution, the Council is required to make appointments to a number of committees as listed in the report on Appendix A. In the case of the formal decision-making meetings, the appointments need to be politically balanced in accordance with the political group regulations. There are a number of other meetings that are not constitutionally required, and these are listed again in the appendix to this report. The recommendations are on page 22. I'm happy to take any questions, or if anybody has any proposals for any amendments. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Maxine. I understand in this, the different leaders may have changed some of the numbers and figures of what they wanted to do, and this is your opportunity to make sure that the people you want are on those committees, and they can be changed before we go to voting for the recommendation. So it just keeps things moving along. So is anybody any changes from any of the parties to any of the committees?
Chairman. Councillor Clausen, Councillor Burt, Councillor Attwell and Councillor Jeremy have their hands up.
Right, we will take it in that order, Julie, thank you. Councillor Clausen first.
I'm trying to find the mute button. Am I on mute?
You are.
I thought I might be. There we go, you can be heard. Yes, Chairman, congratulations from me. Have a great year. If you enjoy it half as much as I did, you'll have a wonderful time. I am going to speak about the Shared Memorandum of Agreement Committee and would like to propose as Conservative members. The main members are Sam Chapman-Allen and myself, and the substitute members are Sarah Suggett and Ian Sherwood. And that's the only amendments I have, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Alison Webb's got a hand up, so is that to say something about that one, Alison?
Yeah, I'd like to second that, please, Chairman.
Thank you. We now go to Councillor Jeremy as Leader of the Opposition. Have you any?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm happy to confirm that the Labour Group committee placements remain the same, and for the new Shared Memorandum Committee, the Labour rep will be myself, with Councillor Clark as my name substitute. All others the same, please.
Thank you very much. Councillor Burt.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, happy to confirm. I'm very happy with the appointments to the committees. I mean, obviously, this is just a procedural matter because of the political balance situation. The recommendations come in two forms, though, and please may I request that we actually take the vote separately on those, because although more than happy with the way that things are who has been appointed where, I'm less happy about the appointment of chairman and vice chairman on all of the committees. And that's an aspect which I think perhaps hasn't been discussed previously. I've got no knowledge of that, and perhaps it's up to those committees to select their chairman and vice chairman. So I don't support that recommendation too.
I actually think if you look at the Constitution, the chairman and vice chairman of committees are either appointed by the leader, or their terms of reference has it that they can actually vote for their own. So that's the way that that's done. Councillor Attwell.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, happy to confirm that the independent members nominated for committees stands as per the report. I would just ask, when we come to the vote on this, will we be voting on this on a committee by committee basis? Because it might be that we are happy with the makeup of some committees and not happy with the makeup of others. So I think members need the opportunity to be able to vote accordingly. I would like some advice maybe from Maxine regarding that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Attwell. Yeah, I must admit, I will go to Maxine on this, because to me, this is purely and simply to agree that we will have committees and chairman and vice chairman. So I can't see how we can vote for them on each committee. So I don't know. Maxine?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. We would take them on block. Each committee is able to make their own decisions, and they've been put forward. So I think we're either voting for the changes or against them. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I would agree with that. And I think what we'll do is what we have done in the past is I will take these recommendations on block. Any member who wishes to pick one and not the other, if you can stick your hand up, I will come to you afterwards and you can tell us which way you want to vote on which one, and that will get things going. But in general terms, the recommendations for the annual appointment of committees, chairman and vice chairman, the recommendations are in front of you. We will take them on block, and we can have hands up for those who agree. Those against? Any abstentions?
Sorry, Chairman, I didn't know, because Councillor Burt, Attwell and Jeremy have their hands up, they were...
I assume, Julie, that they've got their hands up because they want to say which one they agreed with and which ones they didn't. So are we all right with numbers?
I think so.
Right, and then in that case, we'll go to, I'm going to go left to right. Councillor Attwell.
Thank you, Chairman. I agree with the makeup of all the committees, with the exception of the local plan working group. I would like that noted, please.
Thank you. Councillor Burt.
Thank you. Likewise, so I'd like to agree to number 1, but the local plan working group is a problem. But number 2, I do not agree with. So I'd like to vote against recommendation 2.
Thank you. Councillor Jeremy.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, voting against local plan working group. It's a political choice to exclude all opposition members from that. It doesn't have to be politically balanced, and therefore I wish my vote to be recorded as against, please.
Have you got all of those, Julie?
Yes, thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much. In that case, we will move on to...
Sorry, Chairman, Councillor Morton has his hand up.
Oh, sorry, missed that. Councillor Morton. You're muted, Councillor Morton.
Thank you. Yes, I would like to register against the local plan working group structure as well.
Okay, thank you very much. I have Councillor Clark with his hand up as well.
Thank you, Chairman. Coming in very late here. Yes, I agree with the leader of the Labour group, Councillor Jeremy, about the local plan working group, which I object to, but I'm in agreement with all the other appointments. Have that recorded, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Right. That has been passed by a majority, so we will move on.
Excuse me.
Councillor Gilbert, sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Yeah, sorry, Roy. Yeah, I would also like to put my vote against the composition of the local plan working group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Right. Now I will get through the fact that, yes, it was voted for, the recommendations have been passed, and we will move on to Maxine's second starring role of the afternoon, which is item 12, representatives on outside bodies.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. The Council currently appoints representatives to over 30 organisations. Appointments are made to these outside bodies for various different reasons. For instance, following an invitation by the outside body, or to enable the authority to be represented on national forums and groups. The Constitution sets out how the Council operates with regards to these appointments to outside bodies. The recommendations can be found on page 29. There is just one recommendation. Thank you very much, Chairman. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Maxine. Do we have any questions from anyone?
Councillor Burt.
Thank
Councillor Burt
you,
has hand up, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Maxine. Yes, I understand. I've looked carefully at this and had a query on item 6.1.1. Very pleased that we are now looking at these carbon footprint implications. And it says in there that councillors are expected to travel to meetings outside bodies, which could have an impact on the individual's carbon footprint. I'm slightly concerned that this is an impact on the individual's footprint and not the council's footprint, being as that these are official appointments and these people are acting on behalf of the council. Should the impact not also be on the council's carbon footprint?
Now, that is a very good question, Councillor Burt. I'm sure there are many people now going to scratch their heads and come back with a super answer. So I'm going to start with Maxine.
Thank you, Chair. I'm just having a look at the wording. I'm sure that the wording could be tweaked to accommodate, because it isn't just the individual's footprint, it's also the council's. Ultimately, you're all councillors, so it's the council's footprint as well. So I'm happy to make that amendment if that's agreed, but I'm not sure if Sarah Walthamhome-Smythe is on the call, if she has anything to say on the matter.
I agree with you, Max. Yes, it is the individual members, but they are acting on behalf of the council. I don't know if there's any member who deals with carbon issues, whether they have any comments to make, but I think, like you, Councillor Sherwood probably is more expert than we are, if he's got any comment to make.
I'm happy to take this away and look at.
Thank you, Councillor Sherwood. I'm not quite sure whether that's helped me in any great way at all. Are we going to just move that bit?
Yeah, I mean, did you want me to say more, Roy? Or?
Well, no, I was, from what I'd heard from Maxine and from Sarah, I was going to just propose that we add
the
council's and council's carbon footprint. End of. If that's acceptable to members, I would put that as a proposal if I could have a seconder and people are happy with it. Councillor Burt. Yeah, I mean, you're muted, but yeah, okay. So if everybody,
sorry, I was just seconding your proposal.
Thank you very much. So if everybody's happy with that slight amendment to the proposition, we'll take it to the vote. All those in favour, show of hands, please.
Thank you, Chairman.
Against?
Thank you,
Any
Chairman.
abstentions?
That's carried, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Julie. We now move to item 13, amendments of the Constitution, if any. There are none that I have been informed of. So we now go to anything the chairman decides are urgent. No, I think that nothing has come to my knowledge. One of those things that I will say is that as chairman, I hope to be accessible to all members. And this bit could be the time when, if given notice, I could have things that are important. So if I don't know, I can't say it. But if people let me know what's important to them, I will make a decision on to whether or not to bring it up. But that is the end of the meeting. I now officially close the meeting, and thank you all for your support and your help. And as I say, hopefully we can go on and have a really great year. As I say, it's going to be the new normal. I'm not